Good morning. Good morning. It's what is it? 2:43 a.m. There's no better way than to start a Friday, getting ready to go into the weekend, than to be up and out the door early, dressed, wide awake, all business from the following day or the previous day complete. My wife, I come out of a sales meeting and she sends me a message and she says, Sanaya has a bunch of scratch marks, bite marks all over her body. Um, Daycare, she says, our love care provider says that she's not, it's getting worse. I said, well, okay, so what's going on? She says, well, I'm gonna go get her and I'm gonna take her to the urgent care and have her looked at. So I'm just coming out of my sales meeting, so I know I have some time before my next meeting because I have a couple different appointments. And I say, okay, well, I'll just go to the urgent care and I'll meet you there. And she says, okay. So in doing that, it occupied quite a bit of my time and I still had commitments. But my commitments were spread out. I had a showing at 5:30. I had a client I had to walk through a property on before we closed at 2:30, a signing at 1:30, and this is around 12ish, 11:30, 12ish. I said, "Well, I'll meet you there. I want to see what's going on because there's never a time that I don't make it or I am not present when something happens with my kids." And that doesn't mean that I'm stopping the world. It meant that I had time, and I didn't feel like it was that severe, is what I'm trying to say. But I wanted to be there to show support. So some of my other work that I needed to get done for the day ended up coming up short. So what I ended up doing was kind of stacking that onto the end of my day. Towards the end of the night, I had to get, for instance, I had to get this packet done for an appraisal that's getting ready to happen. And I had to get some other properties out, and I had to do some other things. And I stacked it onto the end of my day. And I say all that to say, just because things come up in life, you don't have a reason not to handle your obligations. See, I had an option. There was an option. Now, had somebody had told me my daughter was definitely ill, had somebody told me my daughter was running a fever, she wasn't feeling well, this is not, this has to be addressed right now, there would have been no question in my mind. I'm there anyways. But I was like, hey, something's breaking out on her body. So I asked the normal questions. Does she have a fever? Well, no, she doesn't have a fever. Okay, well, is she in pain? Well, no, she's not in pain because I just seen her that morning. I got video of her. She's running around. She's probably the damn happiest little 2-year-old I've ever seen in my life. We went and had a little light breakfast where the kids had donuts. And I'm not going to lie, I had a damn donut too. So what? So I'm asking the normal questions to try to vet out if there's a super emergency or is there just some caution being taken. So I had an option, knowing that not doing what I was supposed to do for that day was not an excuse to bypass that. Well, I was at the hospital, because some people will use that excuse. I was at the hospital, and you better bring your computer with you. Because if there's one thing that I intend on showing my children, is that no matter what, we must press through. I remember when my grandmother passed away, and at that time when she passed away, I was going through some personal legal stuff that was really serious. It was really serious, and part of what was going on. There was accusations being levied against me. There was threatening letters coming in the mail to my wife about me. My whole integrity and who I was called into question, and there was a lot of things going on when she passed away. And I was involved in this training that was, running me upwards of $15,000 a year. And I remember when she passed away, I had made an obligation to go out to Chicago. I mean, my obligation was I had already got the room. I had already, I had already got the airplane ticket. I had already done these things. I had already done these things. But I was in such pain over the loss that I remember saying, I'm just not gonna go. I'm just not gonna go. Had I not went, I don't believe that legal situation that we were going through would have resolved itself, because when I went on that trip, after finally coming to the conclusion, coming to the fact that not going is not going to bring my grandmother back, and when I say it, when I say that hurt me, but that was an obligation. So I went. No matter how much that hurt me, I had an obligation. It wasn't a vacation. It wasn't a dance in the park. It was heavy, high, intensive training that I probably would have been happier not to show up to, not to go to. And I went. It's easy when something comes up that's unexpected to throw to the wayside your obligations to doing the work, to make it to the gym. I'm speaking from experience, dog. I'm not telling you anything I done fabricated. I'm not telling you anything I ain't lived. But I went. And yesterday, after we got Sanaya settled and everything was, she's running around the house. I remember when we got home, I laid down, I put my little meditation pods in, and she came and slept underneath my arm. It looked like the best sleep she had ever had in her life. And we both went to sleep together. Did that for about 30 minutes. She was still asleep. I got up, told everybody I'm done. I gotta go. Got some property to show. Got some work I need to do. And I didn't get done with that work until 10 o'clock last night. Here it is, 2:50 in the morning. I'm driving down the street on my way to a gym that doesn't open up until 4 o'clock because my obligation. When your commitment to yourself means more than the excuse that you used to rip off, then you start fighting this life battle with some purpose. But my obligation was to get the work done. Matter of fact, I even put my client under contract because I refuse to give up. I refuse to call it a wash for the day. Well, Sanaya's sick, had to go to urgent care. Dude, that took all of about 45 minutes. What's happening? Yep, the day's a complete wash. It's a complete wash. Dude, the doctor says she's having a reaction to some cantaloupe. Here's some cortisone, homie. Don't give her no more cantaloupe. She's fine. Go. And don't make no excuses. I could have said, well, I was up until 10 o'clock doing work. I didn't get home until 10. I was pushing it out. I'm not going to get up in the morning. Or I can say, hey, I ran today at the gym. I'm not going to go out with the fellas tomorrow and run my pray for me, my 3 miles. Because that's what I'm shooting for, 3 miles. If I can get 4, 5, 6, I'll run the 6. I come up with all the excuses in the world. But at the end of the day, there's no excuse for not holding up to your commitment to yourself. The commitment you made to yourself is the number one commitment that you have on the face of this earth. If you do not, I'll tell you this, if you do not keep your commitments to yourself, it is very hard to keep commitments to other people. And if you live in a world where there is no commitment coming from you, you serve no purpose. Purpose is derived from commitment. Same way orange juice is derived from an orange. You got to hold to your commitments. You got to hold to what you said you would do. No matter what. And if you can't do it, then just don't commit to it. But the more you break your commitment with yourself, to yourself, that you told yourself, the more you become comfortable with making excuses. Breaking commitments and excuses are synonymous with one another. No commitment, no character.